Welcome back, fellow shop rats. It's a Talk About It Tuesday, and today we're going to talk about, oh no, I was wrong. This is a fun one. Don't go away. I'm Mike, and this is my car shop. I'm just out here today finally putting stuff away that's in the containers and getting all the tools squirreled back away where they belong for the next phase of work that needs to be done here in the shop. And I was thinking about a bunch of stuff that has gone on the channel and just in life in general. My life tends to be so closely associated with doing the channel and doing my car projects. Sometimes it's hard for me to separate those two. But the reality is, when you're doing car projects, you get stuff wrong. And that's just the way it is. When you've been doing this stuff as long as I have, which is, over 40 years, the old gray matter doesn't work quite as well as it used to. And I remember things wrong. When I was tearing apart the 413 for the golden mullet, I particularly had an episode where I focused on the heads and I was checking the guides, and without thinking I said, if these guides are a little sloppy, one thing we could do for the limited use is go ahead and knurl these guides. I was dead wrong in saying that, and here's the reason why. And somebody pointed this out in the comments, and I went, oh yeah, duh, you knew that. But in the moment, especially when you're recording something, you can say something wrong and not even realize you said something wrong, or think you're totally right and you weren't right. And of course, when you're recording it, then it's out there forever. It is what it is. Very gracious viewer, whose name I don't remember, pardon me, said, if those are steel guides or cast guides, you can't knurl those. Well, of course you can't do that. I knew that, because knurling means you're moving the material around, which means it's a soft material like a bronzite guide or an insert. And the inserts you shouldn't knurl. But see, I almost said something wrong there again also. But the point is that we say things wrong, and we don't even realize we said things wrong. And I think it happens to all of us, whether we're doing YouTube or not. It's just like I said, when you're doing YouTube and you say something wrong, then it's out there forever. Now, some people would say, well, you should delete that episode, or you should go in and fix it, or it's YouTube. I'm not going to do that because to me it's about the big picture of, I recognized I did that wrong, and in another episode I corrected myself. And if somebody only watches one episode, that's great. I'm glad they stopped in. If they got some wrong information, somebody else in the world will straighten them out. If they're only using my channel as a guide for what they're doing, that's probably not the smartest thing in the world either. It's good to get multiple sources for reference on how to do things. I'm getting old. I have a faulty memory. I misremember things. I say things wrong I don't mean to. I'm meaning to say one thing, but what comes out of my mouth is something else. It just happens to all of us, especially as we age. And I do find, and I've seen this to be true. I'll give you a story, Brad. You'll relate to this. Because it was you and I that were talking. Brad and I were talking about motorcycles, and I used to have a Honda. I always thought it was an SL 350, and we were talking about that, and I looked it up, and I realized all these years I've been remembering that was an SL, and I believe it was a CB. I believe the SL was the Enduro, and the CB was the street bike. I had the street bike. Yes, I had the street bike, and a buddy of mine had the Enduro version of the same bike. And that somehow in my mind I got those crossed. Does it matter? No, not really. But it just goes to show you that that was where I had my very, very, very first shop. My son was born there, so that was 35 years ago. That was a long time ago. My son wasn't born there, my daughter was born there. But point is, it was 30 to 35 years ago. I probably will give myself some grace to say things get, a little twisted around in this twisted mind of mine. I think the key is, how do we handle it when we discover we're wrong? First of all, are we being just ignorant and unteachable and not willing to learn, which is unteachable, and just being an ashtray about things? Or can we say, oh, yeah, you're right. I don't know what I was thinking. Duh, that was, I got that wrong, didn't I? Thanks for telling me. I think the second element, and again, this is specifically for us in YouTube, but it's also for people in all of life, and I find this to be true. When somebody tells you you're wrong and presents you with the facts, and you know they don't have all of the facts, how gracious are you in that? Do you have to be right? Or can you say, hey, thanks for that. I will go back and revisit my thinking on that issue. Or, hey, can I share a little bit with you why I see this way or whatever? So again, graciousness to me is the most important thing. Can we graciously accept correction from somebody, even if they're wrong? Now, I don't want to say that we need to be like, they're wrong and I'm right and screw them and inside, even though we're being gracious outside. It's like, it's happened on my carburetor video. I've had so many people come at me, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. I'm not. There was a context to the video. Most people don't understand the context because I didn't explain the context very well. Some people come back with half information. Well, the OEM factories did this. Yes, that's part of the story, but it's not all the story. I've actually got 3 other videos on that. I only mentioned the carburetor one because it's approaching 70,000 views, and I get flamed for that one all the time because people don't understand the context. Okay, that's fine. I'm not going to defend myself. Hey, thanks for the information. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. That's the way I usually respond to it. Once in a while, I can enter into an intelligent conversation with somebody, and we both learn something. And it's so, you know, from where I was coming from, the video's not wrong. From where other people are looking at it, it may be wrong, but there's context to everything. It was probably 10 years ago that I came to the realization, in general in life, particularly in my marriage, but in all relationships, you can love somebody, you can get along with somebody, you can be a friend with somebody, put it in whatever context, or you can be right, but you can't be both. And I think that's very powerful. When, I'll use love as an example, when you truly love somebody, you can give up on the idea of being right. You don't have to be right. How many times can we be right and it just brings more damage because we've insisted we're right, because the problem is with our attitude more than it is with our information. So I think that's a big lesson for us. You know, we have a lot of information when it comes to vehicles and how we repair things and how we fix things and how I fabricate and how I machine and how I build an engine. And you know, people say there's the right way and there's the wrong way. You know what? If you've been around my channel for a while, there's best practices, there's ways that work, there's things you can get away with, and as we say, if it's safe and it's done and you're having fun, how can it be wrong? Plain and simple. So that's my thoughts today. Just was thinking about some of those things that I have stated out there that boldly, you know, wrong, and you know, you just say, oh yeah, you're right, I was wrong in that one. I don't know where my head was or whatever. So it applies to more than YouTube, but it really was on my mind today regarding YouTube. So anyway, that's it. It's a Talk About It Tuesday, and this is what we do almost every Tuesday. We talk about stuff. So today's stuff was being wrong. All right, like, share, subscribe, merch down in the description of the video. Go over to the Etsy store there and pick some up. It's good merchandise, maybe buy some. And like always, we'll catch you on the next one. And don't forget, because it's important. Whoa!